at Sanders Import. Telephone 876-210-5113. Sanders.
Let's Talk Church. Let's Talk Church Live, an interactive, energetic, exciting program talking about the issues that churches face, the issues that we face as Christians. Young, old, middle age, it doesn't matter what demographic or status. Let's Talk Church Live, every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Let's Talk Church Live with your host, Bishop Waynell. There will be invited guests on occasions as we talk church live. We will discuss real issues that we face in the church, real issues that either cause you to love or hate the church. Let's Talk Church Live, every Tuesday and Thursday evening from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Let's Talk Church Live. Let's Talk Church. Let's Talk Church Live, an interactive, energetic, exciting program talking about the issues that churches face, the issues that we face as Christians. Young, old, middle age, it doesn't matter what demographic or status. Let's Talk Church Live, every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Let's Talk Church Live with your host, Bishop Waynell. There will be invited guests on occasions as we talk church live. We will discuss real issues that we face in the church, real issues that either cause you to love or hate the church. Let's Talk Church Live, every Tuesday and Thursday evening from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Let's Talk Church Live.
So, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, watchers, listeners, the moment is finally here. Let's Talk Church Live. Yes, good evening to you all. Wherever you are tuned in from at this time, we say good evening to you. It is Let's Talk Church Live. I want to say welcome to all our listeners and our watchers. First and foremost, our listeners on MPM Gospel Live Radio. And of course, our watchers on Facebook and YouTube. This is Let's Talk Church Live with your host, Bishop Waynell. There are so many things, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about. There are so many things that are going on in our churches today. There are so many things that are affecting the life of church folks that needs to be addressed in a very serious way. You know, church folks are faced with a lot of issues, lots of challenges. I hope you are hearing me. Are they hearing me, Charmaine? Okay. I hope you're all hearing me on YouTube and on Facebook. You see, now there are so many issues that are facing church folks these days. And this evening, we are going to be talking about how the coronavirus, how the coronavirus has affected you and church, how it is affecting your church, how it is affecting you, how it is affecting your relationship with God, if positive, if negative. So, I want to say welcome, and I also want to say welcome this evening. With me in studio this evening, Sister Charmaine. How are you, Sister Charmaine?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Bishop. I am good. I am good. It's a pleasure to be here with you on the debut of Let's Talk Church Live.
Thank you very much. And of course, I am really honored to have you in studio with me today as a second mouthpiece. Now, we always jeer each other as it relates to who talks too much, or who in Jamaican term chat enough. And I am convinced that Charmaine is leading the talk enough department. I know I talk a little. I'm a little talkative every now and then when I'm in the mood. But this evening, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about Let's Talk Church Live. So, make sure you go and tell somebody that Let's Talk Church Live is on air. All right? Send the link to someone on Facebook, send the link to someone on YouTube, and tell someone to tune in right now to MPM Gospel Live Radio.
Let's Talk Church Live, an interactive, energetic, exciting program talking about the issues that churches face, the issues that we face as Christians. Young, old, middle age, it doesn't matter what demographic or status. Let's Talk Church Live, every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Let's Talk Church Live with your host, Bishop Waynell. There will be invited guests on occasions as we talk church live. We will discuss real issues that we face in the church, real issues that either cause you to love or hate the church. Let's Talk Church Live, every Tuesday and Thursday evening from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Let's Talk Church Live.
Now when you're not used to a thing, Now, can you imagine, Charmaine, this evening I am host, producer, technical director, selector, everything. Charmaine, I have a big question. Let me put the ball on your court for as an opening batswoman.
Wow.
All right. Now, how has the coronavirus affected you? How has it affected your relationship with God, whether it be in a positive way or a negative way? How has it affected your church? How does it affect your work? So that sounds like a mouthful. How does it affect your family?
Wow. That's such a big question. There are so many parts to that question, Bishop. It's as if you're saying, talk for half an hour. Because, listeners, viewers, I think he wants
You know what?
you
Make,
to
make
think.
that make that 2 hours, Charmaine. Talk for 2
He
hours.
wants you to think that I'm the one that talks more, but I'm not. But let's look at it. How has Corona affected me? Personally, I said to my sister the other day that I am just so tired of Corona and the protocols that you have to follow, the wearing of the mask, not being able to see your families, your loved ones, and greet them with a hug and, a kiss or anything like that. It's so frustrating. And I felt like I was getting really overwhelmed with it. But then I had to take a step back because it is what it is, right? So, of course, I lost a nephew to Corona, and I don't think that up until now my family has come to terms with it. I look at his picture every day, and it's just seemed unreal to me, right? And I have had friends, loved ones that have lost people that are dear to them to the coronavirus. So it's just such a negative thing right now. In terms of my relationship with God, I can tell you that when my nephew was sick, and Bishop will remember me saying to him that we had a prayer group on WhatsApp, and we would meet every evening at 8 o'clock, I think. And I used to say to Bishop that I am afraid to say, thy will be done, in my prayer. I was just afraid to say that because I was afraid of what God's will is. And I remember during the prayer meeting one night, or more than once, the word came that it is well. And because we wanted him to recover from the corona, we just took it that God meant that it is well and he would recover. He died. He died the first day of January in the night. It was also my sister's birthday. We went out to dinner, we came back, went to bed the night, and he passed. But I understood afterwards that when God said that it is well, he meant that it was well with his soul. because that was also something that we had concerns about. But, you know, that was what the word meant. And so, if anything, during this time, I've had time to reflect on life itself, on me, where I am, and I think that I have grown closer to God. My faith has become stronger because of what I see God is doing, what I know that He's capable of doing. And even in the times when we think that we should be most sorrowful, He brings joy in so many different ways. In terms of church, wow. And so, you know, there was a time when the church was totally shut down in Jamaica. And I don't think that any church has recovered from that total shutdown. I think that even after the shutdown and we were able to have people in church, it's very difficult even now to get persons to come out to church. And even though they may go out and do their businesses, I find that there's a reluctance to come to church. Even on Zoom services, there is still a reluctance to join. So I think that it has affected the church two ways. There's some positive ways, because we have now realized that there are other ways to reach the world on different platforms via the internet, using Zoom and other platforms. And so that is a plus. But then the public gathering of the people, the coming together of saints in the same building, the ability to just touch your brother or your sister in a warm way, that it has impacted churches in a negative way. And it's my hope and my prayer, Bishop, that persons will see the need to come back out to church whenever they have the opportunity. Even when we have 20 persons, it doesn't have to be the same 20 every Sunday, you know, but other persons would show some interest. So I think I spoke for nearly half an hour. But yes, over to you, Bishop.
Well, Charmaine, of course, I am in agreement with you that the COVID virus really has affected all of us. It is very unfortunate. Now, and of course, it has affected the church. There are so many churches today, my listeners and watchers on Facebook. There are so many churches today that are shut down.
Yes.
You know, they are closed down all over the world. There are churches that are closed down in Jamaica. As a matter of fact, listeners, there are so many churches that are affected in terms of financially. Just imagine the churches that are using rented space. You know, the churches that are renting space and all of those kind of things. Folks are not coming. Just imagine a church with 4,000, 2,000, 1,000, 500, 200, 100 members are told only 10 persons in church. No, that is so challenging. Can you check your YouTube to make sure that we are doing well on YouTube? All right. Now, as a matter of fact, you can monitor it on this. Ladies and gentlemen, it is really, 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 really challenging. Church folks, I guess probably you'll agree with me that you have never been through such challenging time before as this. You are going through serious test of faith, pastors and prayer warriors. My God, pastors and prayer warriors. Now is the time to prove, you know, your technical abilities. Can you imagine, listeners, can you imagine pastors who are watching and listening at this time? There are folks who, some pastors who does not know how to even handle a computer. You know, they don't even know how to send. The most they can do is send a text on their phones. And now they have to be, they have to be out there doing Zoom service, Teams service, and you know some of the technical ones, vMix service. Shamin, do you know what is vMix?
Never heard that one before.
Now vMix is like above, you know, the A grade. Zoom probably might be the most popular, and Teams might be there in second position or something like that, you know. But vMix now is like when you go to BBC quality. Now it's a very expensive piece of software, you know. But there are so many stuff out there, and a pastor or cannot manage or does not have the ability. I mean, not the ability. Does not know, never used those facilities. Now have to go and learn something very, very fast. You know, but thank God for church folks anyway. You know, God bless the church with members who can handle these kind of things. But there are some real issues that are challenging to the church. And I pray that, you know, these folks who are going through these situations, that by now they would have overcome some of the challenges. Fundraisers right now in the churches, the government say no fundraisers. Technically, you know, that's what the government is saying, you know. When the government is saying no concert, no convention, no meeting without, I mean, outside of 20 people in the church. Basically, he's saying, you know, no, I mean, no fundraisers. No, churches now will have to be very, very innovative as it relates to putting plans and programs in place. You know, we have had at Missions Possible Community Church, I mean, a fundraiser recently. Probably we can share this idea. You want to share this idea with somebody out there?
All right, so we had a bake sale at church. We didn't have a crowd because we're not allowed to. But what we did, we sold tickets and we did a lot of deliveries. And I have to say that it was a great success. It was a very, very successful venture. And we met our target, and it was not as taxing on the persons that actually assisted with it, because we didn't have a lot of labor, and that was a good thing. So that is, you know, something that other churches can think about doing, because in these days we have to come up with things that will help us and things that we can use time and time again. So I guess it causes us, as you said, Bishop, to become innovative.
Yes, indeed. And of course, we are happy that it was a successful venture. And not a lot of manual energy, you know, resource, you know. What I liked about it is that a lot of the big stuff that we actually used to raise funds were donated. And what was not actually donated, members of the church would do their actual baking, you know. I want to say big up to Sister Shirley with the Sister Shirley pudding, Carmel pudding, I mean potato pudding. The sought after Shirley potato pudding. And I also want to use this opportunity, as a matter of fact, to officially say thank you. You know, thank you to our members, the Missions Possible Community Church members who have who went all out tirelessly. You know, lots of energy, including yourself, Charmaine, in making this event a successful one. I want to say a very, very, very big thank you to all of you, the leadership team, and the rest of you. You know yourselves. You did a very good job. And of course, we're looking forward for the next one. So make sure you drink some cow cod soup and chicken steppers, foot soup, and whatever to energize yourself because we're coming again. Amen. The bills have to be paid, ladies and gentlemen. The church doors have to be opened, you know. And, of course, in a very short while, we'll be talking about, because on television last night, yesterday evening, there was on the news, there were two pastors who were on the news yesterday evening, and they were basically talking about the government's disregard. And they went very borderline, saying disrespect, you know, towards the church who supports them so well, you know, in their event, you know. So I want to say thank you to those pastors who have gone out to say, you know, something to the churches. So now, ladies and gentlemen, must I say to you right now, as we are on air, you can make a call. You can call us. You can call us and tell us what you think. Tell us what you think about or how COVID has affected you or the church, all right? Or your lifestyle, or your finances, or school, or, well, we're talking about church this evening. All right, so how has COVID affected you? The number to call this evening, please listen to this number and only call this number. Don't call any other number, all right? You may be used to some other numbers, but this is the number to call this evening to talk about, and it's a WhatsApp call, all right? You can call on WhatsApp 876 276 9604. All right, you'll be live on air, and I can tell you the lines are now opened. All right, the lines are now opened for you to call 876 276 9604, and you will be live on air. All right, so we're listening out now. Don't wait until near the end to call. Call now and tell us what is the impact of COVID, the COVID impact on your life, your church, your anything to do with your faith in God, you know. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we will agree that COVID is here for a long time. COVID is here for a long time. So, but they call it again the new norms, the protocols. Let us hope that we are respecting the different protocols. What are the protocols again? Wash your hands regularly. Sanitize your hands regularly. Keep the physical and social distance. And of course, wear your masks. And the most important one, I think, you know, is stay home. As a matter of fact, the government put it this way, tan at your yard. All right? Now, when we want to talk a little about also, Charmaine, we want to talk about some things that are going on around the world, some things that are coming. Okay? So just in a minute, in a moment, we will be talking about some stuff that are coming our way. All right? Some stuff that are coming our way in a minute.
Let's Talk Church. Let's Talk Church Live, an interactive, energetic, exciting program talking about the issues that churches face, the issues that we face as Christians. Young, old, middle-age, it doesn't matter what demographic or status. Let's Talk Church Live, every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Let's Talk Church Live with your host, Bishop Waynell. There will be invited guests on occasions as we talk church live. We will discuss real issues that we face in the church, real issues that either cause you to love or hate the church. Let's Talk Church Live, every Tuesday and Thursday evening from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Let's Talk Church Live.
So, you are an eBay and Amazon fan, but you don't know how to ship your things to Jamaica? Check us out at Sanders Import. for all your shipping from eBay and Amazon. We will get your goods to you in the shortest time possible. You don't have a credit card? Come, we can help you. Check us out at Sanders Import. Telephone 876-210-5113. Sanders Import.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to MPM Gospel Live Radio, and we are talking church. The stuff, the things that affects our church and our church life and our relationship with God. Remember, call in. This is an interactive program. Let us hear what is going on with you, for you. Send the link to somebody. Tell somebody on Facebook, YouTube, that we are live. And very soon we're going to be going live on Twitch. I know Charmaine don't. Charmaine, what is Twitch, Charmaine? What is Twitch?
Twitch, apart, not Twitter, but Twitch.
Not Tix, Twitch.
Not Twitter, Twitter.
Not Twitter, Twitch.
I don't know. I'm very
Lord.
old school, you know, Bishop. I'm very old school. I'm just Facebook.
Oh my Lord. Well, we are going to be going live on Twitch. We're going to be going live on Twitter. You see, we want to send the message of Jesus Christ throughout the entire world. Nobody will ever have any reason to say, I did not hear the gospel of Jesus Christ, because MPM Gospel Live Radio will be so active throughout the entire world. I was about to say the four corners of the world, but then I remember the world is round. That's what they say in taught me in school, people, that the world is round. Now, there are some, I've seen an article the other day on YouTube or Facebook, somewhere along the line, somewhere about the place. There's an article that speaks of in Nigeria. Let me see if I can find it here. There's an article about Nigeria that I've seen on Facebook, somewhere about the place, on Facebook or somewhere. You know, that's basically they are saying, you know, that you won't be able to go to church unless you're vaccinated. Yes, in Nigeria. And as a matter of fact, not only in Nigeria, there are other countries right now, you know, for that are involved, you know. They are involved. They are saying that for you to go to any crowded area, right? For you to go to anywhere that is crowded, you have to be fully vaccinated. So to go to football matches, to go to concerts, to the pub, you know, and of course it wasn't in any black or red ink, but you know that churches are crowded areas, so technically crowded areas too. So these are some laws and rules that are already in place in England, you know, and I can tell you, they say when America, Canada, or England sneeze, Jamaica catch cold. So church people, what are your thoughts? You know, what is going to happen? What are you going to do about it? If the time comes for, in Jamaica, you'll have to be vaccinated before you can go to church. What are your thoughts on that, Charmaine?
Wow, that's kind of a tough one, you know, Pastor, because while I believe that taking the vaccination is a good thing, taking the vaccine is a good thing, I also believe that people should have the right to refuse it if they want to. And so when you are forced to show your vaccine, your COVID passport, put it that way, to go into a crowded area, then, you know, it's kind of trampling on human rights. But then again, when you also think that this is a virus that causes death, and if you're careless, you can pass it on to other persons. You don't have to be careless to pass it on. But if you don't do what you're supposed to do, if you don't take the vaccine and protect yourself, you yourself can die. You can take it home to your family. You can take it home to your friends. So I do understand when they say that, listen, in order for you to go to these places, you need to show that you have taken your vaccine. I understand it as well. So it's kind of a tough one, a really tough one.
Definitely, it is a tough one. It is a very, very, very tough one. No, but the thing about it, though, is that it is law. It is going to be a part of a gazetted law, whether we want to accept it or not. And as a matter of fact, so I am saying to the folks now, are you going to be going to church? Now, the reason why I brought this up, listeners, it's because there are lots of Christians who do not believe that taking the COVID vaccine is a good idea. There are lots of Christians who believe that the COVID vaccine has some things that bordered on their faith. There are lots of Christians, well, I hope that there's none by this time, but at the beginning, there were lots of Christians who believe that the vaccine has something to do with the mark of the beast. Now, for those Christians who believe that the vaccine has something to do with the mark of the beast, I always want to ask, have you read your Bibles? Because that is definitely not biblical.
You know, Pastor, I just want to share something. The other day I was having a conversation with someone, a Christian, and someone with a high rank, right, in a church. And the person said that he wasn't going to take the vaccine. And I said, why are you not taking the vaccine? And he said, religious reasons. So I said, I'm very interested to know what your religious reasons are. Well, he said to me, you know, people are dying. People are dying left, right, and center. And I think that the persons who die are better off than those of us who are left behind. So he said that's my reason. So what I'm trying to say is he could not bring a religious reason, something biblical to me to say that, you know, that's my reason for not taking the vaccine. And I do believe that he's not just one person, but many persons. If you ask them, what is it? Why is it a religious reason? What is preventing you then? They can't tell you, because clearly by now everybody should know that it's not the mark of the beast. I think by now we should be all educated in that way. So I don't know what is holding them back. What religious reason that could be.
Wow. Now, when I hear these kind of things, I'm kind of embarrassed. You know, I'm kind of embarrassed when I hear the mark of the beast, you know, stories and things like that. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, remember, listeners and watchers, you know, you can connect with us on MPM Gospel Live Radio. You can call us live and share your thoughts. What are your thoughts as it relates to the COVID vaccine, how it's affecting you or have affected you? Pastors, some of the pastors will say, and members, of course, would say, of course, as you have shared, Charmaine, that they have lost loved ones, you know, to the virus, you know, through death. And Membership is not only dwindling, and a lot of our churches, especially the traditional churches, the membership consists of a lot of elderly folks, you know, a lot of elderly folks. Wrong number, Auntie Kim. The number is 2769604. All right? A lot of elderly folks. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, the number to call is 2769604. Okay? All right? So, yes, as we are, as I was saying, that, you know, that I saw somebody calling the wrong number just now. I do want to remind you that the number to call is 2769604. All right, that's 876, and it's a WhatsApp call. All right, I see somebody's trying to get through, but they are calling the wrong number. Yes, so what was I saying a while ago before I was distracted by that caller? Yes, so we are saying that, folks, the COVID is not the mark of the beast. I was saying also that there are folks who, yes, have lost persons. There's a call coming in, so I'll take that call. All right, let me see if this one will go through. Okay. Hello, good evening. Hold on a minute, sister. I think I'm gonna bring you right on air. Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Bueno.
Okay, you are now on air. How are you this evening?
Very fine, thank you.
All right, thank you for calling in on MPM Gospel Live Radio.
Thank you, sir. I'm very excited about this program, and it's a pleasure watching yourself and Sister Charmaine on this program.
Okay, so what are your take on this whole COVID vaccine? Give us your mile and a half. Auntie Kim.
Well, it's a mile. But while I have nothing against the vaccine, and as a matter of fact, my household, all members are vaccinated. But what I don't understand, if the vaccine is for you, it's to assist persons, or so that they won't, get ill very badly.
Hold on, Sister Auntie Kim. You're telling me that your entire household took the mark of the beast?
I don't believe it's the mark of the beast, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Let me.
What I don't understand about organizations, or maybe the government wanting to make it mandatory after a while, is that if the vaccine is for individuals, it's to assist individuals, for individuals' benefit, why force it upon them? It's not a situation where they will never get the virus if they do not take the vaccine. Where they will never get the virus if they do not take the vaccine. You can still get the virus, and you can still what you call it? Other persons can catch it from you. So why make it mandatory? I'm not fully understanding that part of it.
Well, of course, I am no authority on COVID vaccine, so it's good that you have expressed that. By the way, though, how have the COVID virus affected you in terms of church or even spiritually?
All right. Actually, it's the church. I miss the type of fellowship and the close. I love to hug, to just greet people, and I miss that. Even when we go to church, I remember some time ago. I mean, when we have the welcome session or part of the service, we'd go around and we'd hug everybody. I miss that sort of intimacy, you know. And of course, some persons are still, or they say that they're still afraid of the virus, and persons have not come out to church. So, it has affected the church in a very negative way on that level, where we're not socializing. I was never one to go to church functions, but I really miss hearing about those functions.
Wow,
Yeah.
confession is good for the soul, huh? I'll have to do a confession program one of the evenings.
Even for me, I don't really go out much. Never, even before COVID. But now I just want to go somewhere. Just want to go. It's like everything just appear to be on pause.
Wow. Now, so do you think though that what are your thoughts on the fact that if based on what I've said just now about England and what they are implementing in a lot of other countries throughout the world, for you to go into crowded areas, you have to be vaccinated. What are
That's
your
what
thoughts of that? What are your thoughts of that coming into the church in Jamaica?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't get why the need to make it mandatory. It should be a choice. If persons, all right, think about it. If a person decides not to take the vaccine and they suppress the virus, then they're going to be sick badly, maybe sick unto death. And it's their choice.
Well, now, so you're talking about the whole democratic thing, freedom of choice.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
Auntie Kim, finally, I don't want to stretch you too much this evening. I want you to call back another time. So, you would have heard that what are your thoughts about the lockdown thing? There's a lot of pastors and a lot of church folks are a little perplexed. Can I say that? Use that word, perplexed. Probably bordering and upset, disappointed, feeling betrayed by the prime minister or the government. That of all the days that he chose to make a no movement day or a lockdown day is Sunday. Sunday, which is considered to be the slowest moving day in the week. If he's trying to prevent crowds, Sunday is not a crowd day anyway. In other words, the church is feeling betrayed because we believe that the government is targeting the church by shutting down, by making Sunday no movement days. Of course, yes, he said 20 people in congregations. But what are your thoughts on that?
It is very easy for us to really think that they're working against the church, because I share the same view as those as the leaders of those churches. Why making Sunday a no movement day? It's not coming to me, and I'm very careful, because guess what? I would not like to be in the shoes of those who are making decisions at this time. It's a tough one. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Wow. Well. It's really tough, Auntie Kim. By the way, before you go, is there anyone that you want to shout out? I'm sure it's, Let's Talk Church. There might be some church folks out there that you want to say a hello to. and, wish them something nice or something like that?
Oh, yes. I would love to shout out to my producer, Bishop Bueno.
I wonder who's that fortunate guy.
All my family at Missions Possible Community Church in Galena and Grace United in Discover Bay. I love you guys. Want to big up Shirley and Doctor in Exchange, Middle Street. Love you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Auntie Kim. That's Mrs. Alexander, otherwise affectionately called Auntie Kim. Thank you for tuning in to MPM Gospel Live Radio. Thank you for calling in. And of course, quite informative. We were blessed to have you this evening.
Thank you. All the best.
Bless you, bless you.
Let's Talk Church Live, an interactive, energetic, exciting program talking about the issues that churches face, the issues that we face as Christians. Young, old, middle age, it doesn't matter what demographic or status. Let's Talk Church Live, every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Let's Talk Church Live with your host, Bishop Waynell. There will be invited guests on occasions as we talk church live. We will discuss real issues that we face in the church, real issues that either cause you to love or hate the church. Let's Talk Church Live, every Tuesday and Thursday evening from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Let's Talk Church Live.
So, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful listeners, I want to say thank you to all our listeners right now who are tuned in on MPM Gospel Live Radio. From the United States of America, yes, Jamaica, we want to say wonderful having you tuning in from Canada, the United Kingdom, the Philippines, all over the world. On MPM Gospel Live Radio, this is your host, Bishop Waynell. It is your new favorite, I should say, program. So, Sister Charmaine, we all have favorite programs now. It is your favorite program, and I'm wonderful. I'm pleased and honored to have you, making sure that this first inaugural, that's the word I use, this inaugural program goes on and goes off effectively and successfully. And I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you are tuned in right now. We want to say thank you for tuning in. Yes, on the program Let's Talk Church with your host, Bishop Waynell. We're talking about the things that affects. Charmaine, that church hurt a lot of people, but one of these days we're going to come back and talk about church hurt. Church hurt, church burnout, church, there are so many things that church has done. You'd have thought that when you give your life to Christ, you're on your happy, merry way going to heaven. I'm on my way to glory, and I feel like pressed in my way. But that is not so, ladies and gentlemen. It is not so. As a matter of fact, the songwriter gets it right. The hotter the battle, the sweeter the victory. I was clapping and I realized my clapping looked very strange. It's not clapping like Pentecostal, Yes, it is Let's Talk Church on MPM Gospel Live Radio. Thank you for tuning in, my friends on Facebook. Thank you for joining in. I see you are blowing up the Facebook page there. As a matter of fact, those of you, Charmaine, you want to manage that Facebook thing because, there are so many folks on Facebook. They probably might want to, this is YouTube. They might want to say something. They might want to, So you want to kind of send a text or something in. But I'd rather for you to call on MPM Gospel Live Radio. Call live on the number 876-276-9604. The number is 876-276-9604. So, Facebook friends, you can call to, Facebook people, yeah man, on MPM Gospel Live Radio. You'll be live on air. I want to say thank you for Auntie Kim for calling in just now, and very, very informative, and all of that. But, what? Guess what? There are folks today who are so affected by the coronavirus, churches affected And one of the biggest impact that I realize about this coronavirus on the church is the level of confusion. Every announcement by the Prime Minister kind of changed the demographic and the information, has changed. And so folks are confused because the Prime Minister will go out and announce that Sundays are no movement day without even consulting with the pastors. And I can tell you that as pastors, we feel betrayed and disrespectful. I joined with those two pastors last evening on television. I joined with them saying that they felt betrayed because the pastors and the churches have opened up and cooperated with the government and its initiative and promotion for the vaccine. Most or many churches have. So they feel slighted, sorry, and they're disrespected by the government by making announcements. Most of the announcements, if not all, that he made concerning the churches are without consultation with the church. That tells you, Mr. Government, I heard one of the pastors basically was saying last night that, the last time that the government makes such a move, it affected, it has the potential in the 1980s when the government was introducing communism. One of the Manleys were introducing communism in Jamaica, and how it was like a landslide loss for that party during that time. So that pastor last night was basically sending out a warning to the government. Government, be careful. Election is just around the corner, It might seem a far away, but it's around the corner. But of course, the other party, they're not in any position right now. So position yourself, party, because anything can happen. But there's a local government election that is in the limelight. Charmaine, what say you? I'm talking so long and you are the talking mistress.
Pastor, as you have been talking and I've been listening to Sister Kim, and we pointed a lot of negatives as to how COVID has affected the church. And yes, I have to agree that there is a lot of negative. But there are some positives, when I think that many churches are now streaming live on Facebook, if no other platform, on Facebook. There was a time when we go to church and all the people that you reach in church are those that are there physically in church. There were a few churches that were streaming, but so many more churches are streaming, and every church has their own set of viewers. They are reaching people right across the world. And I think that is a plus because, sometimes when somebody or man makes something and you think it's for bad, God uses it for good. And so this vast world is now open for us as believers to reach. And when it says that the gospel should reach the four corners of the earth, we can see it reaching it now via Facebook, via whatever mediums. I remember not long ago, I think it was in early May or late April, when we had our single seminar. And it was an international seminar. We had speakers from USA. We had persons right across, not just in Jamaica, that were a part of the seminar. And this is all because COVID came in and we had to find other ways of doing things. And I believe that, they say that necessity is the mother of invention. And all of these things were already open to us, but we never used them. We never even realized it. It's when COVID came in, I knew about Zoom. And it's when COVID came in, we started to really stream church. We may have done it a couple times, but not in any consistency or anything like that. So yes, COVID has affected us in some adverse ways at church. And I see that with people not coming out. I see that in the collection of offering and tithes and, all of those things. Not being able to even do anything to the physical building as we would want to, seeing as our church is a church that is being built. It's in the building stages, and we're not even able to do anything. But we still have been able to reach people that ordinarily we would not have reached.
Well, 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 I'm glad to know that, of course, I agree with you, Mr. Charmaine, that the COVID has some positives, we have realized that even in our Bible study and our Sunday evening services that we have streamed live on Zoom, that we are able to even reach. And most of the churches will agree that they are able to reach a lot of their international members, members from the diaspora who would not normally, when nothing like the Jamaican church, I don't care where in the world you go. Church, what they say, nowhere no better than yard. Church in Jamaica is different. We are real Pentecostal, especially the Pentecostal church. I can only talk with the Pentecostal churches right now. I apologize to the other churches. But for right now, I'm talking about me now a little, all right? Pentecostal, knocking the tambourine and the cymbals and the stuff like those. Loud music, booming music, and the louder the music is, the louder the anointing. and the loud preaching and all those kind of stuff. I'm used to that. I'm grown up with that kind of environmental background and all of that. I love it, But as a matter of fact, what I want to say this evening, though, listeners, your church would have experienced, as a pastor, I have over the years, all my pastoral life, well, I was grown up in the church, and I would be considered a pastor's child, and grown up in the church, and myself becoming now a pastor, me becoming a pastor now, I realized that we always look forward and we promote and we preach, going Matthew 28, going into the highways and the byways and all the world and preach the gospel and all those kind of stuff, And we promote evangelism, the members and everybody going out there to invite folks to church and make sure that church folks come out to church on Sundays. And now with COVID, we are told now that only 20 persons can be in church. How does that affect that kind of mandate, Charmaine? Tell me about it. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Pastor, yes, it does. It does have adverse effect, because I was thinking while you were speaking, I was thinking that evangelizing has become very challenging, because whereas there was a time when we would have tent meetings and street meetings, and this is for persons that are not actually coming into the physical church but would stop by at a street meeting or stop by at a tent meeting, or you invite them because people like this kind of, you probably call it the vibesy thing, they kind of like that kind of thing, so it would more attract them. So yes, they would want to come. And I was even thinking that baptism, I don't know, it seems as if it's something that is not really happening right now because of the COVID virus, and also even communion at church. Not many churches are giving communion, again because of the virus. So yes, this and it's 20 persons coming to church. It's especially when you have a large church and you look into that church. Some persons, Pastor, 20 persons coming to church, that is their church. That's what they have, right? But there are some churches, 20 persons is like a drop in the bucket. And you can't invite somebody to come to church with you. And yes, we might say we could invite them to Zoom service, but then again, although we talk about this, and I did mention that it has its good things, there are good things, But there are also some persons that don't even have a device that can connect to Zoom. They don't have internet. The data that they're able to use is not sufficient and stuff like that. So it becomes very, very challenging. It becomes very challenging. And if you were to ask somebody that loves to go to church to give up their space from the 20 and allow somebody else to come, an unbeliever to come, they may not even want to, because to them it's like, hey, this is so important to me too. So yes, I do see how challenging it becomes in terms of evangelizing, inviting people to come out to church. But it is what it is right now, and I do believe that we have to find new ways of doing things. Because I was just thinking to myself, if you were to be asked the question, how would you advise somebody now to go to do evangelism? What are some of the things that you would say, given that you have to practice social distancing, you can't touch people, you have to wear masks and stuff like that? It becomes very challenging.
Wow, 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 wow. Very challenging, of course. You know, one of the challenges, though, that we are faced with, one of the challenges that we are faced with, listeners, is the challenge that people are saying, basically, that I realize that some of our Facebook folks are making some responses. I'll soon get to that. But people are saying that the government should not have put that kind of stipulation on the church, you know, especially with the number 20, owing to the fact that there's no real record of any breakout of corona in any church. Well, at the beginning of the pandemic, there were two small churches that were affected. Some pastor from overseas came and had the virus, and there was an outbreak. But outside of those two churches, you know, the church has been very respectful, you know, because as church we got to be respectful, you know, and be responsible and be obedient to the laws that the government has set out there. For example, not wearing a mask, that's $5,000. Not wearing a mask in public, and if there are any breaking of the protocols in the church, that can be a maximum of $100,000. You know, and but the churches has been very responsive and respectful of the government's protocol, and hence I heard the pastor on television last night asking the question, look at the crowd in a supermarket. Is that 20? Look at name those big supermarkets, especially in Jamaica, or even the smaller ones are worse. You know, think about those Chinese people stores. You know, think about even in the market, you know, wherever the markets are. You know, think about in the buses, the JUTC buses, the taxis. I mean, come on, those are the crowds. Is there 20 people in the JUTC bus? Is there social distancing in the JUTC buses? Is there social distancing? When you want to see real social distancing, go to church. I believe, listeners and Charmaine, I believe that what the government needs to do as it relates to the church, I believe that the government should, especially now that the thing is spiraling, you know, a 50%, you know, of the attendance or the church capacity should be suitable, you know, with all the protocols being observed. And when things boil down a little, not boil up, no, boil down a little, we can go back to 70%. You know, yes, when it simmers down, we can go to 70%, and when hopefully the country reach herd immunity, then it will be open to whatever amount of persons. You know, I think that is a good recommendation. Let me see. There are some texts. One is here from Millicent Ferguson Thompson. Hello, Bishop Waynell and friend Charmaine. I think the Prime Minister should receive the should review the decision in making Sunday a no movement day. I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you, Millicent. You know, I totally agree with you. You know, that the Sunday should be that decision. You know, in Jamaican terms, I think the Prime Minister ate late the night before. You know, or I shouldn't put it that way. I think it's advisors. You know, I want to believe that some of those advisors are not even church people. I believe some of those advisors are church haters. You know, but I want to say to the government, and the pastors did not say it last night, but I've been saying it over and over and over and over. I have been saying this, that the government's prerogative is to govern. The government responsibility is to govern, to make good government decisions, make laws, and to make sure that our economy is okay. Now I see a call coming in. A call is coming in. Hold a minute. Let me see if I can receive this call that is coming in. Hello, good evening. You are on MPM Gospel Live Radio. Good evening. Hello.
Bishop.
How are you, Pastor Marlon? How are you doing?
Not too bad, Bishop.
You are connected live on the air, you know. I wonder if you know that you're live on the radio. You're live on Facebook. You're live on YouTube. Right here on MPM Gospel Live Radio. This is my friend Charmaine, Pastor Marlon Francis from Florida. Bless you, my brother. So how are you doing?
Well, not bad. Not doing bad at all. Wow.
So what are your take on this subject that we are on tonight? COVID and the church. How is COVID affecting the church in Florida?
Well, as you have seen what has been happening all over the world, of course, Florida, matter of fact, the entire U.S. have, going through, their own challenges. Florida, of course, where I'm at, it has, become, the what they call it, the epicenter, as what the last report was given. There have been frequent numbers, coming out, and the challenge from the authorities, government officials, and so on, to encouraging persons to follow suit, follow the protocols, and make sure that they abide by the guidelines. Of course, the vaccine is a very big one, because still there are those who are having, issues and concerns, I would say, regarding the vaccine, of course. But it is not easy. There are numbers that we have to be mindful of. Or everyone has to be mindful of their own safety and so on, and careful. It's really a challenge. Yeah.
Now, Pastor Marlon, I know that you're a Jamaican by birth, by culture, by nature, by church, and I know that you're a Pentecostal believing pastor. Now, what are you? I know that you're in America too, but you know that some people who live in America, they experience Jamaica more than even we who are in Jamaica. They know more about Jamaica than even we who are in Jamaica. Now, what are your thoughts about the government shutting down, Sunday being the no movement day? Of all the days in the week, Sunday is no movement day. We in Jamaica, we are thinking that the government fighting against the church. What are your thoughts?
Wow, it's that's a tough one. To have Sunday being a no movement day, it's I think it's unconscionable. I don't think there's a lot of wisdom or thought have been given into such decision. That decision, it's one of the days that we know from home. All of us, we go to the church, of course. But I'm saying and thinking if, the government should really look at the matter so much is while the concern, of course, the concern, we know that they want person to follow the guidelines, the safety measures, the protocols, whatever they are, and to in not allowing the virus to spread in church. So we know that may be a concern on their end. But I think that, I would say that the church and the leaders of the church are not persons, who are not open to understand or dialogue. I think dialogue is one of the things that should have been, being done to, government have dialogue with the church leaders and come up with a reasonable, decision regarding Sunday, because as we know, traditionally that's the day of worship. And when you do that, when a decision like that is taken, it hurts the church. It causes a lot of pain and tension, and I can just imagine the pain in the minds and hearts of our church leaders and members all. Just not an easy one. While we do not have that safety and minimizing the crowd is one of the concerns on the government end, as I'm thinking. But I think they should go to the table. You should have opened that room to bring the ministers in or the church leaders in, those, and to have a discussion on what is the best way forward regarding Sunday. And I don't, normally I don't see where Sunday will, brings a lot of crowd really. I think it's one of the milder days in the week. You want a milder day in the week. So it's only to, encourage the leaders to ensure that the policies and protocols are followed. So that's what I would say on that.
Now, as it relates to the church, Pastor Marlon, in Jamaica right now, the beaches are closed. The public places, in terms of partying and all of that, those things, are on pause. So for Sunday, the only place that people have to go would be church. So
right.
I am thinking that saying then that all right, only 10% must be in church, only 20% must be in church, or whatever amount, not 10%, right. 50% or 60 or 70%. But the church has always been observing the protocol. Our records are there to show that we are respecting, the laws of the country. We are wearing our masks. Every church that I know of, there's a sanitizing station, and persons are assigned, and every church that I know, there's a area as you enter the church, you have to check your temperature, sanitize, and all of that. And when it comes to the physical and the social, the physical distancing, I mean, it is there in place.
Right.
As you might have heard Auntie Kim mentioned earlier on, that our church missions, possibly especially, that church, I mean, is a church that we are very intimate. We love to hug, and so on, fellowship, and fellowship. We fellowship throughout the whole service, and to not being able to do that, is a big sacrifice by itself. It's a big sacrifice by itself. But we are really very concerned by the point that you have just made, though, that we feel slighted and we feel disrespected by the government, that the government is making decisions, that are affecting the church without having consultation with the church.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the way to go. Because, the way how the matter is handled, I feel that, it's like, you're a punishment, some punishment, so to speak, to the house, to the people, the church from opening. And it should not be in that way when you just, make a blanket a decision and just throw it out. So this is going to be the way forward. There can be, a bargaining table. You can go to the table where they sit down and iron out through the council, the church council, and the board and the ministers. And those bodies are representation of ministers within the fraternal, the gospel fraternity. So that could be done. So I can just imagine the kind of feeling that the leaders of the church, the leaders are having regarding this matter and how it is handled. It's not so much how it is done one, but how it is being handled. That also create a big tension among the church fraternity. So it's a big cry. It's a big chunk.
What is your take, Pastor Marlon, on as a matter of fact, not your take first, but what is the protocol in the United States? Or I know that in the United States, most of the states have their own laws, but as it relates to Florida, because we understand that Florida is a more open state, hence probably one of the highest coronavirus infection in that state. Now, what is the law as it relates, and the protocols as it relates to church in Florida, in terms of wearing masks? Is it that you have to wear, not wearing masks? You heard me mention probably earlier on that in England, the government says that for you to be in a crowded area, like a football match, a concert, a pub, or wherever there's crowd, and I'm sure that affects church also, you have to be vaccinated. Right, you have to have a vaccination passport. All right, is that law in Florida also, where for you to go into a crowded area you have to be vaccinated?
Well, the matter of vaccination regarding Florida, from what I, the whole matter on it is that it comes down to the state, right? The president up top, would like, of course, every person within the different states in the country to be vaccinated, of course. But how the country is run, America is run, that is, they have also state leaders, and so it comes down to the state leader, which really, and this board and all that, which
that would be the governor.
The charge, right, the governor. Right, to make a decision regarding the vaccination. So from his standpoint, he says that it is open to the decision of persons within the state to choose what they want, whether they want to be vaccinated or not. Right, so it's not that the state leader make it mandatory. It's open to persons how comfortable you are, how comfortable you feel about it. And then you can take it based on your decision. So it's not imposing it. But so that with the vaccine, not mandatory, is up to your own decision. Now it comes on to the church now in terms of gathering also. That is also after we have to exercise due care and caution. It's not like Jamaica where you're having police coming to with guns or whatever. They ensure they speak to their leaders and say, hey, you got to follow suit. Make sure you use make the right decision.
Hold on, Pastor Marlon. Hold on a little bit, Stefan. So that is what you guys have in America, saying up there that police coming to church with gun.
No. What I'm saying is not like... No. No, what I'm saying is that it's not like they're coming to the church also with weapons and all that, but it's communicated from the state leaders what is that it is up to the decisions of the ministers and so on to exercise due care, right? Due care and how you operate with this, and also it's so strong. It comes down to personal decision, that's one of the things that I look at it, that it comes down to personal decision whether you want to open yourself to be, to get the virus or so. You got to exercise due care because that is one of the main things these days. The state leaders and president and all that, they have the big chunk and so, of load to carry. But it comes down to every person to realizing that how deadly the virus is and make sure that you follow suit in terms of proper, protection of self and care for your neighbors and your school workers and your job, the person you work with. You have to, exercise due care. It has gone down into some, like, for example, I would say now, like the schools. Now they have been, making it, the laws being passed that kids, while the governor does not want it, he hasn't standing up to no vaccination for the kids. But like in some school districts and so on, you have like the counties in Florida, different counties, that these leaders want to ensure that for the kids, for the students, that the students are vaccinated and so on. So like, school marshals and leaders want to make sure that happen, because what? It helps, to bring that kind of safety within the schools for everybody. While the governor may be saying now, we don't want, I'm not going to make it a law for the kids. So that America has, it's a different, all bodies of people coming together and making their say. And so it's not a one person decision to say that this is what's going to happen and that's it. I'm going to throw this on you, so that's it. So there are bodies of people, so stakeholders, people coming together and making, the decision or come to a consensus on what is it we're going to do.
Well, Pastor
Marlon. A whole lot of stuff.
That's a lot, that more than a mouthful, but you are so right, and we are so thankful because we understand that the state of Florida, there's a little political tension. There's a massive political tension in that state. And they would go against anything that the government, that the Prime Minister, the President put forward, But I'm glad to know that in Florida, though, that you don't have to, be vaccinated to go to church. But I am sure that in short order, there are some states that will put that mandate forward not long from now. And I am not going to be surprised, Pastor Marlon, that mandate might reach Jamaica very soon too. That the law will pass that crowded areas. As a matter of fact, I know we're talking about church, but we're going to be having a national football match here in Jamaica very soon. The end of this month, somewhere along this month, or next month, sometime very soon, at the National Stadium.
Okay.
And the Football Federation is in dialogue with the government, to have a limited crowd, at the stadium to watch the match.
Wow.
And what they are putting forward to the government is that the persons who will be able to qualify to come and watch the match are the persons who are vaccinated.
Who are vaccinated.
So, as I said before, not only that it is coming, it is almost here.
It is. It is. I know. Like here now, I heard the news earlier, where our president have been now open. They are now making steps to open travel from other countries, persons who have been fully vaccinated. So because there was a ban due to the virus, the spike and all that. Persons coming from other countries and all that, bringing into the U.S. and all that. Now, steps are now being taken. I think if it's not yet, just on the heels of it, that it's now going to be open, for travel to the U.S. for persons who are from other countries.
Now, Pastor Marlon, what is fresh on our news in Jamaica now is that come the 1st of November, all Jamaicans who wishes to travel to the United States will have to be fully vaccinated. All Jamaicans traveling to the United States will have to be fully vaccinated. come the 1st
Yes.
of November. We are waiting anxiously, for our government to respond to that, because we are going to want to know if all persons coming from the United States to Jamaica will have to be fully vaccinated. Of course, Jamaica is a small fries. We can't say that. We can't say that at all because we are small fries.
Oh yeah. I mean, but the truth is, Reverend Bishop, is that I mean, like you have just said, which is very, very true. Every country gonna have to follow suit in making the decision. It's gonna be a tough one to ensure that they follow suit, because if one country make it legal, mandatory, that you have to, be vaccinated, to travel or to go other places, you're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to go that route. I mean, I think, and so, I heard you earlier initially when you opened the discussion, and your Auntie Kim had mentioned that, still we know that persons are fearful of this vaccination. I've been fully vaccinated, and I'll tell you, prior to taking my first shot, I said, God, you know what is in this. I don't, and I know because part of it I work also as a healthcare worker here too. So I know it wasn't, and because of my work, it's also because I have to, get us to persons based on the job, I have to offer care to persons and so on. So I know, it was something I really didn't want it, because I've pushed back. I tried to avoid it, but I came to the point where I realized that I got to go to, one of the things because of my job, and so I said, God, what is in it? And so I just prayed that whatever is in it, and that what, I never want to get in my body or whatever. God, and will you kill anything that would destroy my body? And so I'm just telling you what I did. Just pray. And it's one of the approach that I would say to all of us who, maybe come to that juncture, that point where, ask of the Lord. He will, pray about the things that we don't know, because God knows what we don't know. And so that's one of the things. That's how I think we have to operate in asking of God for his intervention. They have a lot of report all over that. And there's also said that, stuff around the internet, whatever, people have died from the vaccination and so on. Who am I to, challenge us, yes or no, say yes or say no. But I'm saying, there may be other conditions that person maybe, had suffered from and so on, with, prior to vaccine and so on. I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't, but I'm just saying, it's for us. What we don't know, Pastor, but Brother Bishop, is to pray and ask the good Lord to intervene and touch this drug or whatever will go inside of me for protection, as is medically proven. You knows what I don't know. And so based on that kind of approach, I think we will at a better place, for God to remove anything that would create any harm to our bodies. So that's how I feel.
Yes, Pastor Marlon, I want to say thank you, my brother, for calling in this evening on MPM Gospel Live Radio. And of course, you have shared so much information, and thank you for the updates as it relates to what's going on in the United States and the protocol as it relates to COVID and the church. We are so grateful for you, my brother. And I want to say to you, my friend, before you go, keep safe, keep wearing your mask. I know that I know that you'll be keeping yourself